Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the afternoon session here on a Wednesday for the CTE Institute. It's looking really different this year, that's for sure. But it's really good to see everybody in this virtual way this afternoon, and we hope that this will be a very interactive meeting. And I know I'm learning. I'm not very good with Zoom, so just bear with me. And I'm in the capable hands, I know, of my coworker and longtime friend and somebody I've collaborated with for a number of years. We have with us today Miss Amy Dodson. She's got 19 years as an educator, which is hard to believe. She started out her career at Tri-County Vocational School, and you may know that now that is a satellite campus for TCAT Hartsville. So for some of you TCAT folks and all you people that are doing dual enrollment, she has experience there. We are currently very proud and honored to have her at Clay County High School. She is a business teacher there. She actually started and is the work-based learning coordinator. She is the FBLA sponsor, very active in that, and CTSO group as well. And she is a Google certified trainer and has been very busy this summer, so she's not had a lot of rest. So let's just welcome her as she tells us some about Google and where can we start and what do we need to know, Miss Amy?
Thank you, Miss Jane. So today we'll talk about Google Classroom for beginners. And if you had to start like everybody else did, or a lot of people did in March with Google Classroom, and you're still having a learning curve, this will still help you. As Miss Jane said, I did become a Google trainer. I'd always wanted to do it, but I did it in March. Once we were out, I took the time to go through the steps. Okay, a lot of districts like ours are requiring teachers to become Google certified. If you feel like this guy in the video, then this will help you with the Google Classroom portion of the exam. So this is my son, Will. He shoots competitive trap and skeet and sporting clays. And this is what he wants everyone to know. In Google Classroom, he wants to see what has to be done that day or even that week, not for the entire month. And some girls from my Wednesday night Bible class, I asked them how they felt about it. Of course, there's always one that wants to see a month's worth of work. But the rest of them, you know, they liked the classes that put assignments up on Monday and they were due on Friday. They liked the classes that they knew what was coming, but it wasn't due right then. And so just keep that in mind, that when you post assignments, you can schedule them out just a little bit. But when you post those and the kids see those, it can be overwhelming. And kids like my baby Will just turn off when they see an entire screen of assignments. We will talk about how to use Classroom in your classroom, but some other ways that I use it with FBLA, with my CTSO. I have a classroom that they join as soon as they join FBLA. All the paperwork is right there. So, you know, they lose the permission slip twice, and then their parents can print it at home and send it to me. So that works out well. Officer applications. I'm also the yearbook advisor, and I use it a lot for that. And then with Google Forms, you can even vote for homecoming and class office through Google Classroom by grade level. And if you do vote for officers, it can be done this way. So the possibilities are limitless, but we'll get through the basics and get you started. One thing that's important to know, if you have multiple teachers teaching your same subject area, you can actually add them to your Google Classroom. Where this is awesome, at my school last year we had 3 teachers teaching work-based learning. Well, the standards are the same. So we would add the assignments to one classroom and then push those out to our individual classes. That works out pretty awesome. Why reinvent the wheel? So if you, like with computer applications, I have 3 classes. I'm not going to do something different for those. With differentiation, of course, they're going to be at different speeds, but I'm not going to have completely different assignments on Google Classroom. So it's just so much better. The really important thing to keep in mind, if you add a co-teacher, let's say that you're adding a special ed teacher or an RTI teacher into your class, just remember that they can make changes. They can delete assignments, they can add assignments. So just make sure that they are well versed in Google Classroom before you turn them loose with yours. Okay, let's get started. This is what I call the waffle. So the Google Apps button, that's where you'll go to get started. Of course, logged into your school account, and then Classroom. Move Miss Jane around here. Okay, and then create class. And I always try to, I never put Miss Dodson's in the title of anything because they can see Miss Dodson on their side. They'll see Miss Amy Dodson. I always put a section number and a subject though, because that helps when you reuse assignments the next semester. That is one of the beauties of Google Classroom. You can reuse assignments. You can reuse anything from other years, other semesters, other classes. Like business management, I don't have every year. So I'll actually go back 2 years ago and pull assignments and revamp those for this year. So once you're in here, you can upload a photo or select a theme. And on my website, I've got some directions for how to make a theme for your Google Classroom. And I'll share that with you later. Or you can pick one of the ones that Google has. Every time you have a Google Classroom, you're going to have a unique code, and it's right here. And one thing they have added just in the last, I think the last 2 weeks, whenever you click here, it makes it larger. Before it did make it larger, but not as large as it is now. So when you click this button, it makes it larger. I have this pulled up when my kids come into my classroom at the beginning of every class. And of course, you know, the second and third day when schedules are still being changed, then I still leave that up and have those new students to join. This code is also what, like I'll have a sheet to send home to virtual learners this year, and those, they'll have my classroom code and specific instructions of how to join my classroom. So that code is very specific. I'll have some students that are in my classes more than 1 period a day, and they'll have to join each individual Google Classroom. Okay, the settings can be changed as you go along, but this little cog, this little settings button is the same all the way through Google. And it's important to remember you have to do what works best for you. And what works best for the ag teacher next door to you may not be what works best for you. So you can always go in and change those, and that's important to remember. One of the most important things ever in settings is to remember, if you do not change this, students can post and comment. And guess what? Students will post and comment. Just leave it open. You'll be entertained. But so I always select only teachers can post or comment. I leave it open where students can send me a private comment on an actual assignment. But unless I'm doing some type of discussion or something, I don't want students posting in the stream. So that is very important. This is another one you may want to change. Just like I said, see what works for you. Classwork on the stream. That the stream is what comes up when you first log into Classroom. I normally have my students just click on Classwork to get straight down to the bare bones of it. But if they're working from home, you may want to post videos or just announcements, and those will show up in the stream. So it's important that, you know, it's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit different for virtual learners. You will probably want them to see most things in the stream. Students like Will, once again, I keep it condensed so that they don't log in and see 30-something posts from Miss Dodson, because I know that would shut me off as a student, and I figure they're the same way. Okay. This is what the stream looks like. This is one of mine from computer applications. And so I would put my videos on the stream, and then it showed what was due and when. Another thing in settings, Google Meet, you can turn it on to where students can see it. Sorry, that button's in the way. And there's a reset button. There's a little down the arrow down under there, and it will regenerate a fresh link. So if you don't want students to be able to go there without you, then you can make it invisible to students and leave that off. I personally leave mine turned off unless I'm in there. And then if you're the first person in a meet and you're the last person out, then they don't rejoin. And that's, you know, hopefully we can trust our students, but why leave that open? So if they have a meet on their own, that's fine, but I don't want them going through my classroom to do it. And so I just leave mine turned off unless I'm ready to meet with them. Okay, the People tab is pretty awesome. This, when you click on the 3 little dots, you can email a student. So if you need to email a student individually, or you can check specific students and hit actions and email those students specifically. You can invite their guardians, and I think that's something we'll be doing more with this virtual learning, or at least the students that are on virtual, is to invite the guardians. They get a weekly email update just showing if students have work missing. It doesn't show the actual assignments or the details, but what I'm sending home to parents is going to suggest that they go ahead and have their students log in so they can log in and see exactly what's going on. Topics are so important. They help you stay organized. You can add them when you start, or you can always go back and pull them around and reorganize. Some people do it by date, or they started doing that in March anyway. I do mine by unit or by the subject in the unit. So of course, CTE, we all have that safety unit, and so that's what we always start with, has to get out of the way. And so like I have my safety unit, and then we go on to the other units. You can add material here. This is where, when you click create, this is where you can add a quiz, and it goes straight to forms. And you can reuse posts to pull something from another class or even another year. But if you add topic, that's important and will be helpful. And always keep the student in mind when you add assignments. When you add those topics, you can just click on them and drag them however you want them to be. And that has helped me the most. I put what's due now up at the top with my topics. Like when we're finished with safety, I'll drag it to the bottom. It's still there if they need to look something up, but it's not, they don't have to scroll halfway down the page to get to it. Okay. Always put enough instructions in the assignment that if a student is absent, they can still participate. So if we've always had a student, or I've always had a student out sick at some point for at least a week in a semester, whether it's the wisdom teeth or an appendix or pneumonia. I've always had a student be out, and Google Classroom has been awesome for this. Personal story. The ladder to my deer stand broke the Sunday before Thanksgiving this year, and I broke my shoulder blade. So I was out of school, and Google Classroom saved me and my class. Thank goodness I was able to use it to put my assignments online and give my students enough instruction that they still learned even though I wasn't there with them. And so think about that for sub days. Of course, if virtual learners for sure, but even sub days, you know how it is when the principal isn't at school. The kids are just a little wilder if the principal is not on the announcements that day. And so it's the same way with you. Sometimes using Screencastify for a 2 or 3 minute introduction video to your assignment, put in here with your assignment, just makes it more personal and alleviates some of those questions you're going to get by email. So I always put all the instructions I can think of. And one thing I try to do, if my instructions are not clear enough, if I have more than 2 kids ask the same question, then I always try to go back and edit that assignment so that when I reuse it in the future, whether it be the next semester, the next class period, the next year, that it has those correct details, and hopefully those questions won't have to be answered again. So that's what I do. You add all the links and the files that go with the assignment. You can add several different documents. For example, work-based learning, my resume assignment and cover letter assignments. Those have, you know, I put articles with it. I put, you know, the top 10 resume mistakes. And I'll link some YouTube videos, a playlist actually. And so I'll have lots of attachments there. And so those all just show up down here for the student. Okay, when you're adding those files, you just click on what you want to add. If it's not something you've had open recently, you may have to search for it, but then you click add, just like everything else. Now, Google has changed this actually 2 days ago. They've made some changes. So shared drives, you may need to make copies of your assignments and put them in your drive. This is very important as well. Whenever you add files, like here's my officer application, you have the option here on the bottom right that students can view the file. If they can view it, they cannot make changes to it. So if there's a PDF or a file you just need them to see, then that's fine. But if you want students to be able to edit, then they're actually editing your file. So if it's a template of something, I would make a copy before I turn that loose to them. Sometimes I do that if we're doing a slide deck together or a presentation, and it's really helpful and everybody can work on it at the same time. But just know that that is the original file unless you make a copy. Students get their own individual copy if you choose make a copy for each student. And that's what I do lots of the time. If I share a Google Doc like with questions or just a guided outline, then I always have the students to do their work in blue. So they'll type their answers in blue or in green, and it's a lot easier to grade and check and go through.
Thank you.
You're back in business.
Thank you.
Okay. So assignments can be added for multiple classes at one time, and that is awesome. If you have multiple sections, I have a friend with 3 sections of junior English, so this has been a lifesaver for him. This is his first summer to try using Google Classroom, and so he's able to add it all at one time. So if you are blessed to do that, wonderful. I have 5 sections of different classes this semester, so pray for me. Let's see. If you're going to go ahead, and here's one thing that I do. I make a mock class. And so for work-based learning, for example, I have a template and all of my assignments are in there. And then I go in there and assign the work out to the actual classes, just because I don't want them to see all the assignments yet. And when you do that, if you hit save draft, you're good to go, and then you can go in later. It does let you schedule assignments, but it only lets you schedule per class period. So keep that in mind. If you're scheduling, it won't let you schedule for different classes at one time. Let's see. Oh, if you do make the template class, then you can set them up and you hit add draft when you make them. But to go back and assign, you just click edit, the 3 little dots, and edit, and set the due date and what classes they're for. It really, really does help. When it comes to differentiation, assignments can be added for specific students, and this has been wonderful for me. We all have that student that needs a little more practice to build confidence. We all have that student that works ahead and gets finished 15 minutes before everybody else. Every class has that kid. And so what I do, in that class, those classes, I always go and I have extra assignments set up that I can release to those students. Nobody else has to know that student's finished with their work. Nobody else has to know that student has extra work or activities that they're working on. Sometimes it's something fun like nitro type, but I just send them a link through Classroom. But if you have a kid who has some modifications, this is a good way, you know, if you need to shorten an assignment, then you can send them a modified version and nobody has to know it. So that's wonderful. If you use something like we got EverFi this past year, and so you can share your join code and share it through there. Miss Jane?
Hello. I had a little technical difficulty just a minute ago.
Okay.
I was knocked off. Now, I am not seeing questions yet, Miss Amy. If you're sending those, I know there was a participants in the last session that said that they were not able to see those either. Either that or I am not looking in the right place. Do we have questions coming in, guys, or some of you asking questions?
Okay, Flossie Brown, if you, I have a laptop set up where I can see the chat. If you'll type your question in chat, and I saw someone said that, can you delete a class? Yes, you can delete a class. Let's see, let me share my screen again. I'm new to Zoom because I'm a Google girl and I've been on Google this whole time. Okay, in Classroom, if you want to delete a class, whenever you go out here to classes and you see the list of all your classes, when you click on the 3 dots, then you would go to archive. If you want it to go away, you can delete it from over in archived, but I never really delete mine. I just archive them and leave them there. And that way I don't see all of last semester's work. Someone said it looks different on an iPad. Yes, it does look a little different on an iPad for the students and for you. Okay, yes, this session is being recorded, and I also have a handbook that I will put in the files, and I needed to make a few little changes, so that'll probably be up around 3 or 4 this afternoon. Okay, they do have to have your school. Yes, I'm sorry, Kevin Hilton. The mock class and the template class are the same, and I just call them the same thing. Okay, I create a classroom for each individual class, and then that way there's always that class that works faster, and they'll be a day ahead of everybody else. And so yes, I do, and then sometimes I'll just change the due date for the class that takes a little bit longer. They do have to have, if you're using it through school and through the school's Google account, then the students do have to have student accounts. We've only had that, I think, for 3 years. And so before that, I had Google Classroom on my personal account, and that's a mess because you don't have access to everything, and the students, it just doesn't work out. So the students have to use their school Gmail account, or the school, it may not be called a Gmail account, but they do have to do it through the school's domain. Okay. Okay, the student side of this looks different. So on the student side, what they see, let me click on a class that I am a student in. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Of course, this is letters and sounds. I taught Google Classroom to some elementary teachers as well. This is how it looks on the student side. So that's why I said always give enough instruction or details. But students, I always have them click add or create. We always have that kid that I wrote an entire essay, Miss Dodson. It was 2.5 pages long. I promise it was perfect. Well, if they click add or create, you know, then they can go and they can do a Google Drawing doc, slide sheets, and it automatically, it attaches it and it's in that classroom folder. And even if they forget to hit the turn in button, there's a blue turn in button, even if they forget to hit that, you can see what they've done. And so for privacy issues, I have not pulled up any of my student work. I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I just wanted to show you kind of that side of it. I hope that helps. Let's see. But, you know, if that student that says they wrote 2.5 pages of an essay and they really only have 2 sentences, then you see that. And you can click on version history, especially in docs and slides, and you can even go back. So I have had students they don't actually delete the document, but they deleted paragraphs. You know, their backpack was laying on their keyboard. And so you can go to version history and get that back. It's pretty awesome. And you can see, you know, if they shared their document with somebody else, you'll be able to see that too. So. Flossie Brown, sorry, I just now saw yours in the chat. Yes, there will be a handbook. I'll upload it between 3 and 4 this afternoon. Of course, we're on Central Time, but I will get that done. So let's go back over here. There are a few more things I want to show you. I'm afraid we will run out of time if I don't. Okay, this is a game changer. This is a video. Hopefully the audio is going to be loud enough for you. If not, you may want to turn it up. This should change your life.
Hey guys, this is Amy Dodson. I'm really missing you, but I wanted to show you a neat little tool that Google has added to Google Drive, and it's the ability to take a picture on your phone and add a worksheet or a PDF or even a page of your book into your Google Drive and then into your classroom. And for me, being able to make things editable is priceless. These are just 3 screenshots of my phone. If you don't have the Google Drive app, you need it. If you do have it, just make sure you're logged into your school account instead of your personal one so that you don't have to fool with moving files around. So you're going to click on Google Drive on your phone, and then you're going to click the plus sign, and then you'll click Use Camera. This is all on your phone. You take a picture of the worksheet, PDF, pages of your book, if your students don't have copies of the book at home with them. And then it can have shadows, doesn't have to be perfect. Then whenever you go to your Google Drive, that image is going to be there. Some of you may have a folder called scans, depending on what kind of phone you have. I myself, my pictures just show up as image numbers in JPEG format. So if you right click and go to Open with Google Docs, it's going to put the original picture, and I took a bad picture on purpose because I know lots of times we're in a hurry, and if you are trying to take pictures of a whole section of a book, you're going to be in a hurry. So this is how it does the actual scan, so you can compare it, see how things are here. The only thing it really messed up, it looks like, is the picture, and so I'm just going to take that out because there's no need for it. Okay. Also, you can see it put these in 19 points. There's never a need for 19 points. Okay. One trick that I'm going to give you, anytime I have students to edit a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, I have students to put their answers in blue, a darker blue, not highlighter blue, or a dark green. This just makes it extremely easy when I go through and grade on Google Classroom, because their answers stand out. I'm not sitting there reading my questions and their answers every time. I just want to see their answers to make sure that they are picking up the skills. Now, I do want this graph. Like I said, this is not a good picture by any means, but I don't want the rest of it here. So we're just going to click on it, and this is the crop button. Crop image, and make sure you get a hold of the black part here, not the blue, and that's going to crop that down. And you're going to hit the crop button again. This handy dandy little blue dot here, when you click a hold of it, you can rotate it. Then I'm going to click and drag it down here to the bottom. So they have that. Now, my kids are just going to click and hit enter. And my students know to click and choose blue and type their answers. But we're going to go ahead and change the name of this so that your drive is not cluttered. And when you add it to Google Classroom, it's going to have a name that makes sense. Now I'm going to click over here in my Google Classroom. Find my class, Classwork, create an assignment. I would typically put more instructions there. I like to put my things by topic. And I've noticed some people during this remote and distance learning, they have been doing topics by week. I'm still sticking with my units because I may just copy these assignments into next year's classroom and make adjustments as I go. So they'll already be grouped by topic rather than the week. But we're going to hit Add, Google Drive, and wherever you saved it to. And there it is, how the communication process works. And this is one thing you have to do right now. You can't do this later. It does not work. I know some teachers have asked Google to change that, and they're great about changing things, but they're changing a lot of things right now. So I don't see that happening immediately. So you're going to change this to make a copy for each student. If you have it where students can edit file, your sharp student is going to jump on there, have all the answers answered, and it's going to be saved And then all the other kids the answers are already going to be there. They're not going to have anything to do. So you want to hit make a copy for each student and then assign.
Okay, so let's move on. I hope that changes your life. It changed mine. I don't do a lot of worksheets, but when we got out, I don't have any books for my classes. And one other thing that I had in there, make sure, you know, if it is a worksheet, if it is something, a graphic organizer, always give credit to the person that made that. A lot of time and effort goes into that type of thing. The other new part of Google Classroom is rubrics. You can add a rubric. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because there are some awesome 3-minute YouTube videos on rubrics. I like to give my kids rubrics so that they know what is expected from the get-go. I never give an assignment without a rubric unless it is a very specific, just detailed assignment. But I like to know what's expected of me, so I assume everyone else does too. And that's how rubrics look. If you have not used forms, let's see, we are almost out of time. This is my favorite PE teacher, Matt Walker, and he bought into Google Classrooms. He is our biggest advocate of using Google Classrooms and Google Forms. So I'm going to show you just a snippet of his video. You will want to turn your volume up just a little for this. Well.
My name is Matt Walker. I teach personal finance here at Clay County High School. Never thought I'd be talking about technology because I struggle with it quite a bit. However, this is the first year that I've used Google Classroom and Google Forms in my classroom, and it's freed me up quite a bit. As a coach, I do a lot of stuff at the gym, a lot of stuff as far as basketball goes, a lot of planning and stuff goes into my basketball. And probably the 3 things that I hate the most about teaching and my daily burden is making copies, stapling papers, and grading papers. And I think those are 3 things that every teacher probably hates. By doing my testing and using materials online, I don't have to do any of those 3 things. I don't have to make copies anymore. I don't have to staple anymore. I don't have to grade. They even grade your papers for you. So, welcome to the 21st century, I guess. I feel like I finally caught up a little bit. I know a lot of you guys probably are hesitant about using this, but like I said, it's freed me up quite a bit, and it's not as scary as it might seem. One of the things I'm going to point out on here that I use as a teacher is instant feedback. Instant feedback. Once the kid gets it done, their grade pops up automatically. The kid can see their grade as soon as they submit their score. It grades it for them. They can see it instantly what they made. I enjoy versus paper and pencil. Some of the kids rush sometimes to get done, and if you're one that's still working, it feels like.
Okay, that was Matt Walker, and he is one of our biggest advocates for using Google Classroom now. And like I said, he was in the copy room every morning, and he teaches Dave Ramsey in personal finance, and every single morning you could count on him being in the copy room, and normally in the afternoon too. And he doesn't do that anymore. I'm happy he has his life back. You can create in Forms a quiz assignment, and it goes through Google Classroom. I wanted to show you, okay, just 2 days ago, Google added, whenever you're adding to your assignment in Classroom, there's now the option to add a form there. So you can actually hit Create Assignment, and then at the bottom under Add, you hit Forms, and you can go ahead and create a quiz or a test within Google Classroom. It just saves a couple of clicks. So that's pretty awesome too. If you've never heard of Kami, we really don't have a lot of time to go over it, but I want you to know it is a game changer. If you do anything where students, if you have a PDF and students need to give feedback on that PDF, we don't have Adobe in our system. And so Kami is the free version of Kami, will do what you need it to do. There is a paid version, it's free right now, but the actual free version is pretty awesome. Kids can just draw a text box and type their answers. So scholarships are where I push it, because most of our scholarships are in PDF format, and then our kids can type their answers and they look beautiful, and then hopefully we'll get them over someone else. Sorry if you're a neighboring school. TinyScan is the other thing that's a game changer. It uploads directly to Google Drive, and then you can insert something to Google Classroom. So it makes, it takes a picture and makes a PDF as well. I wanted to invite you. Google is having a back to school event, and they want all the trainers to get the word out there. It's called the Anywhere School, and it's going to be a 24-hour live stream event, and it's on August 11th and 12th. And I'm really excited about it because there should be some new things released from Google. One of the things coming up is you will be able to make breakout rooms within Google Meet. I'm really excited about that. And I think it's going to be great. Everything that I have said, everything that I have shown you, there are individual videos already uploaded to my YouTube account and to dodsonedu.com. If you will click on Google Classroom at the top, there are lots of resources. I have a few more things to upload there today as well. And this presentation will be in the files section on the CTE Institute website. And then my other files and the handbook I'm making should be there as well. But it'll take me a little while to get it exported. I wanted to let you know the Illinois CTE team released an awesome document this morning, or that's when I got access to it. And they've released documents helping CTE teachers transfer some of their lessons that are normally face-to-face to remote learning. And so they've released a list of some additional tools. Some of them I had never heard of, but they're pretty awesome. So you can just click there to download their PDF whenever you get my slides. The keyword, what is it, Miss Jane?
New Mexico. Yes, New Mexico is the key word. So be sure and save that so that you can get credit for today's session. I'd like to thank Ms. Dodson too. You can see that just like all good lessons, something always happens that you didn't expect to happen in your lesson, but you recover. And Miss Amy always does that beautifully. And you can see that she's just got the tip of the iceberg today for you. And Miss Amy is a very good resource for you, and I know that she would be happy for you to share any information that you've heard today, or rehash it or answer any questions that you might have.
This is my school email address. I check it all the time. Sometimes I wish I couldn't, but and also get social. Let me tell you, the best PD out there is not on a webinar. The best PD you can get to inspire you is on Twitter these days. Instagram even has some awesome things, but get social on Twitter with teachers that are going through what you're going through, and it will help you. Let's see. Do we have any other questions in chat? Okay, the Google Back to School is August 11th and 12th. Let's see. Somebody was asking for it. It is Google/the Anywhere School. Okay, are there any other questions?
while we're waiting for questions, I just would like to thank everyone for being here today and listening to our session. And you know why Clay County is so feels so honored to have Miss Amy Dodson, and we just want to celebrate her a little bit too for putting this all together for us. And just
Hey, Miss Shane, it shows that we have 3 people with their hands raised.
okay, now see, I don't see that. I don't see chats now.
Okay, Stephen Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes, the students do each need a Google account. Our IT department was not on board for that, but if you harass them enough, they will do it. It is important, and just get your school system on board if they're not. Let's see. The session ID will automatically show up down when you click Take Survey. It should automatically be filled, and then the keyword is New Mexico. Let's see. Agnes, if you don't care, will you post your question in chat? August 11th and 12th is the Google Anywhere School. Okay, I create an individual class for every single class period. I know that some schools are going to do individual classes, like an individual section for their virtual learners. But in Clay County right now, the plan is that students will have the option to come back in person after 4.5 weeks. So I'm just going to keep them the way my rosters and my rules are. But that's just how I think I can deal with it the best. So that when I put my grades in Skyward, that's one thing I didn't talk about. Google Classroom has a gradebook, but I personally don't use it because I have to type it all in Skyward anyway. They and their parents have access to that, and so it's just double the work for me. I do great on Google Classroom, but I open up Skyward in another window so I can just go down through there. It puts them alphabetically, and I just hit the next button. My website is dodsonEDU.com. Okay, Flossie, no, I'm sorry, I don't have access to your email, but I will post the files here on this website, and I also put them under dodsonedu.com, and under Google Classroom, I'll just make a CTE page. I think that'll be the easiest. Okay, if you're doing this on a cell phone, Miss Jane?
Yes.
Do you have the email? Let's see. Do you have the email that includes the session ID? Thank you, Darcy. Google Classroom is free for schools. They have to register as an education institution, and then there are certain parts that are called the Enterprise Edition, and that's one of the things Google is actually changing, I think, in September. Right now you can record a Google Meet, but that's going away unless you have the Enterprise Edition. I think it's $4 per teacher, and so our school system doesn't have that. So I know some of the school systems around us do, but you can do so much with the free version. I really don't blame them for not paying for that.
Ms. Dodson.
Don't tell anybody a Google trainer said that. Yes, Ms. Jane.
Ms. Dodson, I do have the session code if you're ready.
Okay.
It is Z as in zebra, S, N, K,
Thank you, Miss Jane. Dodson EDU, you will have to put the old-timey www dot in front of Dodson EDU. Sorry about that. Yes, you do actually have to put www in front of it. The code word is New Mexico. Anybody that just woke up, type in New Mexico. Okay. I will have more videos. I do have more videos on www.dodsonedu.com, even how to do the headers and how to add in emojis. Like I'll put pencils in front of something that's to be turned in on my topics and code that a little bit for them.
Ms. Dodson, did we answer the question? It's funny, I'm just now seeing now at the end, the chats are popping up. Says, are there optional training sessions for more advanced classroom instruction?
Okay, there are more videos on our website, and I'll be posting more. Like I plan on doing a parent's guide to Google Classroom 100% from the student perspective, and using my son's account to do that, so I can show you exactly and show parents exactly how to help their students, whether it be getting logged in or to make sure that they are doing what they need to be doing. So all those will be on my YouTube channel and on Dodson EDU.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your attention today. I appreciate everyone that attended.
Absolutely, and everybody have a great rest of your afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jane.